So, introduction about Indian Accounting Standard. It is a written document issued by a government or regulatory body. In India, it has been issued by ICAI, that is on 21st April 1977, and it has been initiated by Kumar Mangalam Birla, that is the Chairman Committee of Corporate Governance for Financial Disclosures, and also initiated by a chairpersons of NASA. So Indian Accounting Standard, abbreviated in as, is the accounting standard adopted by companies in India and issued under the supervision of Accounting Standard Board, that is ASB, which was constituted as a body in the year 1977. So ASB is a committee under Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, which consists of representatives from government departments, accommodations, other professional bodies, ICAI, that is a representative from FICCI, etc. So the Indian accounting standards are named and numbered in the same way as International Financial Reporting Standards, that is IFRS, and a National Financial Reporting Authority, that is NFRA. It has been recommended, they have recommended these standards to the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, that is MCA, and again MCA has to spell out the accounting standards applicable for companies in India. As on date, MCA has notified 41 Indian accounting standards, and this shall be applied to the companies of financial year from 2015 to 16 onwards, and from 16 to 17 it has become as a mandatory for all the companies which are in India. So based on the international consequences, the regulatory will separately notify the date of implementations of Indian accounting standards for the banks, insurance companies, etc. So the standards for this computation of tax has been notified as ICDS in Feb 2015. The objectives of this will be like standardize the diverse accounting policies, and it will add the reliability to the financial accounting, that is add the reliability to the financial statements, and eradicate baffling variations in treatment of accounting aspects, and it facilitate inter-firm and intra-firm comparisons. So the primary main objective of accounting standards will be to provide a standard for the diverse accounting policies and principles, and to put up an end to the non-comparability of financial statements. Like usually whenever we want to know the position of a company, what we need to do is like we are comparing this. So this will become like a main objectives, and it will increase the reliability of the financial statements, which provide standards which are transparent for users, and it will define the standards which are comparable over all periods which will be presented over there, and it will provide a suitable starting point for accounting. It contains high quality information to generate the financial report, that is it can be done at a cost that does not exceed the benefits, and for the eradication the huge amount of variation in the treatment of accounting standards, and to facilitate ease of both inter and intra-firm comparisons. So the primary objective of accounting standard is to harmonize the different accounting policies. The policies are used in the preparation of financial report. These reports will be prepared by different enterprises. So this will bring about a certain degree of confusion at a time of comparison. So this is where the accounting standards come in. The objective of accounting standard is to bring a standard to the policies. It will bring a standard to the policies, and this will facilitate easy comparison with respect to the inter and intra-firm reporting. So accounting standard in different nations, that is in India 32 accounting standards as Indian accounting standard under NASA, and as per international there are 41 accounting standards called IFRS, and it has been adopted by 8 countries in the world, and 70 to 80 countries planning to adhere IFRS. So clause 50 added to the listing agreement mandatory, a system of rules and principles that prescribe the format and content of financial statements, and standards that are developed by the International Accounting Standard Board, that is IASB, for reporting companies' financial results, and that are followed by over 100 nations throughout the world. Evolution and types of accounting standards. So accounting standard from accounting standard 1 to 15, it has been initiated in the year 1979 to 1995, whereas from accounting standard 16 to 29 it has been initiated in the year 2000 to 2007, whereas from accounting standard 30 to 32 it has been later part of 2007. First will be the disclosure of accounting policies. This is the first accounting standard There is a disclosure of accounting policies. So whatever the accounting policies we are having, it will explain about that. So disclosure of accounting policies specify the policies adapted to prepare financial statement, and it will be disclosed at one place. So the purpose will be like a better understanding of financial statements and better comparison of analysis, and mostly indeed what written of the depreciation. So the purpose of these standards to promote better facilities like the information presented in the financial statement of an organization is of its financial position. So the profit and loss can be affected to a large degree by an accounting policies followed. So the accounting policies followed vary from organization to organization. So it is important to disclose the significant accounting policies followed to make the financial statement. The disclosure is required by law in certain cases. Like in recent year, organizations in India have adopted the practice of including a separate statement of accounting policies followed in their annual report to the shareholders, and many organizations that is list the accounting policies followed by them in the notes to their financial statement, but there is no consistency in the disclosure among organizations. So in other words, the disclosure form parts accounts in some cases, while in other it is a given and supplementary information. So the purpose of this standard is to promote the better understanding of financial statement by establishing the practices of disclosure of significant accounting policies which are followed in the manner in which they are disclosed in the financial statements, and such disclosure will also facilitate a more meaningful comparison between the financial statement and different organizations. So the accounting policies will be the going concern concept, that is the consistency, accuracy, and the nature of accounting policies. So the second standard will be like accounting for inventories. Usually accounting for inventories will be used for computation of cost of inventories, and it shows in balance sheet till it is sold. It will consist the raw material, work in progress, finished goods, and spares, etc. So this accounting standard is applicable to all the companies irrespective of the level, that is the level 1, 2 and 3. And these standards prescribe the accounting treatment for inventories as well as to set the guidelines to determine the value at which the inventories are carried in the financial statement. It if it's explain the different methods of accounting the inventory or the closing stock, which has a huge impact on the business revenue and the asset. So the valuation of interest invested, this standard should be applied in accounting for all inventories except the following, that is work in progress in the construction businesses, work in progress of services businesses, and a shares, debentures and other financial instruments held on as a stock in trade, and inventories like livestock, agriculture and forest products, mineral, etc. These inventories are valued at a net realizable value. So definition of inventory includes the following, that is held for sale in the normal course of business, and goods which are in the production process, or the raw material which are consumed during production process. So the net realizable value is the estimated selling price in the ordinary course of business less the estimated cost of completion and the estimated cost necessary to make the sales. So the inventories will be valued at a lower of cost and net realizable value. So what thing we need to take into consideration while calculating the inventories is we have to determine the cost of inventory, and we need to determine the net realizable value, and we need to compare the comparison between the cost and the net realizable value. The lower of the two is considered as the value of inventory. So a comparison can be made by item or by the group of items. So under this we are having cost of inventory, that is the purchase cost or conversion cost, and cost of purchase and cost of conversion. The like overhead cost, each and everything we are having about related to the inventories. So the measurement of inventories, it will be measured according to the cost of purchase, that is the purchase price, duties and taxes, freight inwards, and cost of conversion, that is the determination of net realizable value and comparison of cost realizable. That will be like according standard 3, that is the cash flow statement. Cash flow statement is nothing but a statement which is applicable to cash flow statement, has been defined under Companies Act 2013, and as per the definition in the act, a following statement shall be included, that is the balance sheet, P&L account and income and expenditure account, cash flow statement and a statement of changes in equity, and the notes. So the cash flow statement are to be prepared by all the companies, but the act also specifies certain categories of companies which are exempted from preparing the search. So such companies are one person company or a small company or a dominant company. So cash equivalents are held by an enterprise for meeting its short-term cash commitments instead of the purpose of investment or such other purposes. So for investment to qualify as a such equivalence, an investment must be easily convertible into cash and must be subject to a very low level of risk with respect to the changes in its value. Hence, an investment will qualify to be a cash equivalent only when such an investment has a short maturity of 3 months or less for its acquisition date. So presentation of cash flow will be like a cash flow statement must depict the cash flows within a period of classifying them as an operating activity or investment activity or a financial activity. Operating activity means the cash received from a sales of goods and services, cash received in a form of fee, royalties, commission and various other forms, and cash paid to a supplier of goods and services. Whereas investing activities will be the cash paid for acquiring the fixed asset, cash received from disposal of fixed asset, and a cash paid for acquiring shares, warrants and debts instruments. Whereas in financial activity, cash received from issuing shares or other similar services, cash received from issuing loans, debentures, bonds, and cash repaid on borrowings. So cash flow activity from operating activities will be like according to the direct and indirect method. Indirect method where all the major classes of cash receipts and cash payments are to be presented, whereas in indirect method where the net profit or a net loss is to be adjusted, that is effect of transaction that are not cash in nature such as depreciation, deferred expenses, provisions, and accrual or deferral of futures or past operating cash proceeds or payments, and any expenses or incomes related to financing or investing cash flows. Next one is accounting standard 4, that is contingencies and events occurring after balance sheet date. Like usually whenever we are preparing, we are getting some of the events or some of the contingencies which after preparing the balance sheet we are getting. So for maintaining the provision of bad debts, like usually we are getting some of the expenses which we are getting after maintaining the provision of bad debts, and generally you uses conservative concepts of accounting like bankruptcy, frauds and errors. So as accounting standard 4 deals with the treatment in the financial statements of contingencies events which occur after the balance sheet date. So the contingencies are excluded from scope of accounting standard 4, bearing in mind special consideration which are applicable to them. So liabilities of general insurance enterprises of a life assurance which arises from the insurance policies, and like the commitments which arise from a long-term lease contract and an obligation under a retirement benefit plans. So the contingencies are situations or conditions that eventually outcome of which profit or loss will be determined or known only on the happening or non-happening of an uncertain futures. Event occurring after the balance sheet date will be the noteworthy events, favorable as well as unfavorable, which occurs between the balance sheet date and a date on which such financial statements are considered and approved by a board of directors in case of the companies by equivalent operating authorities in the hand of other entities. So there are two kinds of event that could be identified, that is that the events which will happen after the balance sheet date will be like the event that gives further evidence of situations which substituted at a balance sheet date, and events that are indicative of situations which occur following the balance sheet. So the value at which contingencies are stated in the financial statement depends on the information that is available on a date when the financial statement are considered as approved. Events which occurs after balance sheet date which suggests that the asset might have been impaired or a liability might have exercised at the balance sheet date or hence taken into consideration is recognizing the contingencies and determining the value at which the contingencies are included in the financial statements. So the events will be like the adjusting events, that is the events which we are getting, or non-adjusting events we are having. So accounting standard 5, that is the net profit or loss for a period item and changes in accounting policies. Accounting standard 5 deals with the classification and disclosure of specific items in the statement of profit and loss account. The purpose of accounting standard 5 is to suggest such a classification and disclosure in order to bring uniformity in the preparation and presentation of statements of net profit or losses across enterprises. So this enables the enterprise to compare their financial statement over time as well as to draw the comparison of their financial statement with the other enterprises. Thus, the statement of net profit and loss requires a disclosure of certain items within a profit and loss from an ordinary activities and a classification and disclosure of extraordinary and prior period items, and an accounting treatment of and disclosure for changes in the accounting estimates, and a disclosure of changes in the accounting policies. So the scope for this will be like presenting profit and loss from an ordinary activity, and representing extraordinary items and prior period items in the statement of P&L account, and considering changes in the accounting estimates and disclosure of changes in accounting policies. So profit and loss account from ordinary activities will be the ordinary activities. What will be the ordinary activities? The disclosures, and disclosures to be made in the notes. So accounting standard 6, that is accounting for depreciation. It's a non-cash expenditure or distribution of total cost to its useful life, and it occurred due to obsolescence, and different method of computation will be there, that is a straight line method and a written down value method. So it will define a depreciation as a measure of wearing out, compensation or other losses of value of depreciable assets arising from use. So usually whenever we are using the depreciable value, we are getting this accounting standard 6. So accounting standard 6 is nothing but it's an accounting standard which deals in a non-cash expenditure, and a depreciation is a measure of wearing out, so compensation or other losses of value of a depreciation asset arising from use, and a percentage of time or obsolescence through technology and market changes. So the depreciation amount of the depreciable asset should be allocated on a systematic basis and to each accounting period which during the useful life of the asset. So depreciable assets are assets which are expected to be used during more than one accounting period and have a limited useful life and are held by an enterprise for use in the production or supply for administrative purposes, and depreciable amount of depreciable asset is its historical cost or other amount substituted for historical cost less the estimated residual value. So useful life is the period over which a depreciable asset is expected to be used by the enterprises, and the useful life of the depreciable asset is the shorter than its physical life. So there will be a two method, there is a straight line method and a written down value method. Accounting standard 7, that deals with construction contract. So construction contract is nothing but a contract specifically negotiated for construction of assets or combination of assets closely interrelated. So construction contract describes and lay out the accounting treatment in respect of revenue and cost in relation to a construction contract, and according to accounting standard 7, construction contract is to be used in for the accounting of construction contract in the financial statement of contracts. So the type of contract will be a construction contract is any contract which is entered into a specifically for construction of an asset or a combination of assets that are closely interlinked or interdependent, that is their technology, design, function or nature of their ultimate purposes or use, and a fixed price contract, that is a contract in which the contractor agrees to fix a contract price, and in some cases there may be an element of cost escalation clause in the contract which is mutually agreed to between the parties. And cost plus contract, a contract in which the contractor is reimbursed for cost incurred or agreed cost plus a percentage of these cost of a fixed fees. So next standard is accounting standard 8, that is accounting for research and development. To deal with the treatment of cost of research and development in the financial statement, it will identify the item of cost which comprises of R&D, cost lays down condition. R&D cost may be deferred and requires specific disclosures to be made regarding the R&D cost. So Indian accounting standards primarily are issued to help entities prepare and present the financial statement accurately, and Indian accounting standard brings about uniformity in the presentation of financial statements across the entities. So they intend to cover such areas that present challenges to all the entities. So this standard prescribe the guidelines for selecting and modifying the accounting policies together with the accounting treatment and disclosure of changes in the accounting policies. Changes in accounting estimates the correction of an error. That is, to understand the standard, we must first understand the following term, that is accounting principles are the specific principles, rules, basis, conversion and practices followed by an organization in preparing and presenting the financial statements. So a change in accounting estimate is a modification of carrying amount of liability or an asset or the life of the asset that results from an evaluation of current status and expected future advantages and obligations linked with. So the assets and liabilities changes in accounting estimates arises due to new findings or new developments, and hence are not correction or errors. So how the accounting policies are selected and applied. So first of all, the entity must assess if an Indian accounting standard specifically applies to a transaction, other events or condition if it applies. Then the accounting policies are to be applied shall be determined by applying Indian accounting standards. If Indian accounting standard does not apply, then the management shall use its judgment in formulating and applying an accounting policies that result in information that is relevant to the economic decision making need of a users and reliable in that the financial statement. So represent accurately the financial position, that is the financial performance and cash flows of the entity, and it will reflect the economic substance of transactions over events and conditions, not merely the legal form, and are neutral, that is from the bias, are prudent and are complete in all material respects. So can the entity changes in the accounting policies? Yes, an organization shall change an accounting policies only if the changes is ordered by an Indian accounting standard and result in the financial statements. So accounting standard 9, that is the revenue recognition. Revenue recognition means the gross inflow of cash and other consideration like arising out of sales of goods, rendering the services, and use of enterprises resources by other yielding interest, that is dividends and royalties. So accounting standard 9 is concerned with the recognition of revenue arising in the course of ordinary activities of the enterprises, that is from sale of goods, from rendering of services, or from the use of others of enterprises resources yield interest. So revenue recognition, that is according to level 1, as per the accounting standard 9, revenue recognition is issued by an ICAI. That is, the revenue is the gross inflow of cash, receivable or other consideration arising in the course of ordinary activities of an enterprise from the sale of goods. So rendering of services and from various other sources like interest, royalties and dividends. So revenue recognition has to be measured by the amount charged to the clients for the sale of goods and services, and in the case of the agency's relationship, the revenue has to be measured by an amount charged for commission and not on the gross inflows of the cash, receivable and other consideration. So revenue arising from construction contract and revenue arising from hire purchase lease agreement, revenue arising from government grants and other similar subsidies, and revenue of insurance companies arising from insurance contract. So this standard was issued by ICAI in the year 1985, and in the initial years, so it was recommendatory for level 1 enterprises but was not made mandatory for all the enterprises from April 1st, 1993. So as per ICAI, enterprises means a company as defined in section 3 of the Companies Act 1956. It's a level 1 enterprises are those enterprises whose turnover for immediately preceding accounting year exceeds 50 crores, and the turnover here does not include other incomes, and it is applicable for holding as well as subsidiary companies. So revenue recognition emphasizes on the timing of recognition of revenue in the statement of profit and loss account of an enterprises, and the amount of revenue arising from a transaction is usually determined by an agreement between the parties involved in the transaction, and when uncertainties arising regarding the determination of amount or its associated cost, these uncertainties may influence the timing of the revenue. So sale of goods will be there, rendering of services will be there, and interest, royalties and dividends will be there. Next accounting standard is accounting standard 10, that is accounting standard for fixed asset called as a cash generating asset and expected to use for more than an accounting period, like land, building, plant and machinery, etc., and it's shown at either historical revalued value. So the objective of accounting standard 10, that is the property, plant and equipment, is to prescribe the accounting treatment for property, plant and equipment, so that the users of the financial statement can discern information about the investments made by an enterprise in its property, plant and equipment and the changes in such investments. So the main objective of accounting standard 10, that is the property, plant and equipment, is to prescribe the accounting treatment for property, plant and equipment, so that the user of the financial statement can discern information about the investments made by an enterprise and its property, plant and equipment and the changes in such investments, So the principal issues in accounting for property, plant and equipment are the recognition of the assets, the determination of their carrying amount, and the depreciation charges and impartment losses to be recognized in relation to them. So these standards should be applied in accounting for property, plant and equipment except when other accounting periods requires or permits a different accounting treatment. So this standard does not apply to biological assets related to agricultural activity other than the produce on bearer plants, and wasting assets including mineral rights, expenditure on the exploration for an extraction of minerals, oils and natural gases and similar non-regenerative resources. So the next accounting standard is accounting standard 11, that is effect of changes in forex rates, that is foreign exchange rate, whatever we are having, it will affect. So the classification of accounting treatment will be like category 1. So under category 1 we are having the foreign currency transactions and buying and selling of goods and services, lending and borrowing in foreign currencies, and acquisition and disposition of assets. So under category 2, that is the foreign approaches, that is a foreign branch and a joint venture and a foreign subsidiary. Whereas in category 3, foreign exchange contract, that is for a managing risk or headed or a trading and speculations. So like accounting standard 11, that is effect of changes in foreign exchange rates, applies to accounting of the foreign currencies transaction of a business's entity and translating the financial statements of the foreign operations. So the effect of changes in foreign commodities, so this standard deals with deals with the principal issues with respect to accounting for foreign operations and foreign currencies transaction in deciding which exchange rates to be used and guidance on recognition the financial effects of changes in the exchange rates in the financial statements. So these standards also deals with the transactions in foreign currencies which are in the nature of forwarding the exchange contracts, and this standard does not specify the currencies in which companies represent their books of accounts through. A company usually uses the country's currencies, and in cases it employs the different currencies, so the standard necessitates disclosing the reasons for the same, and the standards also require disclosing the reasons for any changes in the reporting currencies. So initial recognition will be like the foreign currency transaction is any transaction that is dominated in or needs to settle in a foreign currency. Such foreign currencies transaction must be recorded on initial recognition in reporting currencies, and by applying the exchange rates between the foreign currencies and the reporting currencies to a foreign currencies amount on the date of the transaction. So the next slide will be like accounting standard 12, that is accounting for government grants. It will be assistance provided by a government in cash or in kind, like grants of assets like plant and machinery, land and building, grants led to the depreciable fixed asset, and a tax exemption in notified areas. So accounting standard for government grants will be like it deals with the accounting for government grants. Such grants are offered by the government and government agencies and similar bodies including local, national and international. These government grants are sometimes referred to as subsidies, cash incentives, duty drawbacks, etc. So it helps to discharge the duties the government undertakes, promotional activities, provide incentives and grants to the businesses. The grant received from the government are the various forms such as subsidiary, incentives, duty drawback, among others. So it deals with grant given by the government but does not cover the accounting for grants which reflects the effects of the price changes, and it will assisted by the government other than the grants like tax exemption, etc., and the participation of government in recognition ownership. So accounting standard 13, that is accounting for investments. Assets held for earning incomes are like dividend, interest, rental for capital appreciation, etc. So it will involve the classification of investment, cost of investment, valuation of investment, reclassification of investment, and disposal of investment and disclosure of investment in financial year. So accounts for investment is like a form of investment classified like investment made by an enterprise in another enterprise, and the disclosure of such investment in the financial statement. So the basis of criteria for recognition of interest, dividend and rental earned on investment will be like operating or finance lease, and investment of retirement benefits plans and life insurance enterprises, mutual funds, venture capital, and banks and financial institutions formed under a central or a state government or under Companies Act 1956.